We started our journey to Amador County, California, where we're going to visit the Westover Field. Now, driving in, you're driving into the little town of Martel, as the airport is 2 miles northwest of the central business district of Jackson, California. The airport, it's mostly a general aviation airport. It is 3,401 feet long, and it's asphalt. And this little drive that you go up to it. It's very nice. It's quiet. It's really a quaint airport. There's opportunity for somebody that wants to be a CFI, a certified flight instructor. Great opportunity. There's about 89 aircraft that are based here, and this is where we're going to go visit a very special aircraft. This aircraft, if it was to fly, it couldn't fly here. It needs a long runway, longer than this runway. And we're pulling in. We have different other municipalities on the right as we were coming up. So as we pull in, see again, it's an uncontrolled airport. You're on top of a hill, and the moment you leave the airport and you head west for 6 minutes, without even pulling back on the yoke, you're just at whatever altitude you are when you leave, you're automatically over the Sacramento Valley, and you're now at 3,000 feet, 2,000 feet. Anyway, here's the plaque. This right here, this fairing, identifies it as a reconnaissance jet. This aircraft used to belong to the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force as a reconnaissance F-86. It was returned to the United States Navy at China Lake, California, where it was used as a target. And fortunately, it didn't get hit too bad. Its vertical tail stabilizer was taken out, and it sat out in the desert. And then came a time where the Navy recognized that Saber jets are reducing in numbers. It was their property. And a gentleman, the airport manager here in Amador Airport near Jackson, California, was a former attack pilot in the Navy. He reached out to secure the Saber jet, to have it on display at the airport. And so the jet has sat, and now it's being sanded. It's going to get painted. So what I'll do is we'll just do a little walk around and put on some music, as I always do, and just take a look at the project, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. David here that is going to, David Shepard, he's the airport manager, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about where this jet came from, what the plans are, and some of the efforts that's already gone into it to get it to what we're looking at today. David, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
what we
go
have
ahead.
here, it's an F-86 Saber built by North American. Came out of China Lake. It is on loan to Amador County through the U.S. Navy Department or Museum of Naval Aviation, Pensacola, Florida. Like I said, it came out of China Lake, and it was offered to the county in the late 90s as a display. And through donations, we were able to have it trucked up here, assembled. And then in the 2000s, an Eagle Scout took it on as a project to get it painted, which was very nice, and it came out real well. Unfortunately, after about 10 years, the paint started to chip off, so Museum of Naval Aviation saw our pictures of it and said it's time to redo it. So the local Experimental Aircraft Association's chapter took it on as a project, and we've been stripping the paint and sanding it and trying to get ready for a new coat of paint.
Oh, very nice. And we're going to see what that coat of paint is going to look like. We have a couple examples in the office that we're going to share with you. And just the effort to go into sanding this to get it where it is now. How many people do you typically have that help out with this?
We started out with 10 for the first couple Saturdays that we worked on it. And we worked on it in 4 to 5 hours each time. Okay. The last couple times it's been 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
It's really dwindled off. You know,
yeah.
It's a lot of work, and people get busy with their own lives. So.
They do. So you're eager or be welcoming if somebody wanted to come and volunteer their time to come out here and put a little elbow grease on the jet. And the EAA chapter, that's Experimental Aircraft Association?
Correct.
Oh, okay, great. And you guys meet here once a month?
Yeah, the third Saturday of the month at 10 o'clock in the airport lobby. We
have
our regular meetings, and sometimes it rolls into a jet work project, but not always.
Oh, we're inside the base operations here, and we're with Randy Eilich, and he is the chapter president of the local Experimental Aircraft Association. Randy, thanks for being on the show.
Well, Dutch, pleasure to be here.
Hey, pleasure's mine, to be honest with you. And what we're going to talk about is now we're going to get in a little detail about the F-86, what you guys, the paint scheme. Let's start with that because it's a very nice paint scheme. If you could show the audience at home, I can hold those for you.
Show it right here.
Okay.
So we got the pleasure and the honor of actually being custodians of this FJ-23 Fury, which is a counterplane similar to the F-86 Saber for the Air Force. Back in the 50s, in the mid-50s, the Navy actually went back out and wanted to have an aircraft like an F-86 Saber, and so what they did is they commissioned it, and they got the Fury out, and they could also land on aircraft carriers, and who typically flew the aircraft were the Marine Air Corps back then. So with back in 1997, 98, we got the aircraft over here as a loan from the National Navy Aviation Museum in Pensacola.
Nice.
And so the aircraft came from China Lake, and China Lake is a place where they put aircraft over there for target shooting and target practice. Yes. So fortunately for this jet, our pilots weren't that good shots.
Yeah.
so the only thing that got destroyed was the back end of the tail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So back in '98, we acquired the aircraft. The mechanics out there disassembled it, brought it up here to Jackson, Westover, here in the Gold Country, and reassembled it. And here's a picture of the aircraft that is reassembled. And if you can barely see it, this is the aircraft as it was in China Lake.
Wow.
With the tail missing.
Let me see that. I'm just, because I know my brother's watching, I'm going to get this up close for him. That's something.
So the nice thing about it is, back in 2011, a young man, Austin Randall Thorne, he was in the Boy Scouts up here. And so for an Eagle Scout project, he came to the airport and he wanted to refurbish the aircraft. He wanted to paint it. And so he painted the aircraft as an Eagle Scout project. And it was a little bit of silver, yellow. And if I remember, it was like, this paint scheme was,
looks like,
I'm throwing in my hat.
Yeah, it was the 94th Pursuit Squadron.
94th
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the squadron markings.
So he painted it, but unfortunately over the years, the last 15 years, the weather has taken a toll. And the paint that we used was, or he used back then, was a water-based aircraft paint, which one of the local manufacturers, that's all they had, and that can only last so long. So what we did is we reached out, the EAA chapter here, local chapter, and we're chapter number 1539, and we got a paint scheme approved by the Naval Museum, and so we picked these colors.
Those are very nice color. It's a handsome color.
Yeah, we think so too.
Yes.
And so what we've done is our membership here over the last year and a half have worked tirelessly. We stripped the aircraft down. We took out all the old paint. We kind of put in, layers out there, smoothened everything out. And so now what we want is we want to go ahead and paint the aircraft. And so we'll put it out here display for the public to come here and take a look and see the uniqueness of this beautiful aircraft that once flew back in the mid-50s. During the Korean theater.
Yes.
And so we would love to have this as one of our centerpieces over here at the airport at Westover. And so one of the things that is kind of hindering us is we need to raise a little bit more money.
Yes.
It's a very expensive process to paint aircraft with an oil-based paint. We are FAA exempt from other standards because oil-based paint is approved for aircraft, and especially for a military aircraft.
Oh, great.
And so it's going to cost us roughly about $4,000 to $5,000 to have the aircraft painted. And aircraft paint costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars per gallon. And so we're looking for people who can donate $5, $10, $25, whatever you can donate, and to our chapter, EAA Chapter 1539. We are a nonprofit, so it is tax deductible.
Great.
And our address is right here, which is 12200-B Airport Road, Jackson, California, 95642. Once again, 12200-B Airport Road, Jackson, California, 95642. And we would greatly appreciate it. And we'll keep you posted, Dutch, on the progress of the plane.
And I'll come back once that the aircraft is complete. I'll come back. We'll do a follow-up story. In addition, I'll put the description for the donations in the video.
Great.
And yeah, we're going to post this on YouTube, and so it'll be up there shortly. And after some editing and music, and then let's see this project through. And $5, if 100 people gave $5, if 50 people gave $100, but anything. And again, it's a tax write-off, and it's going to a very good place to restore what are artifacts. It's not just an aircraft, but it's an artifact. And this jet represents a lot of jets. It represents a lot of people that sweated, bled, and died in the service of this country around this airframe. So thank you for watching the Flying Dutchman podcast. Thank you, Randy.
Dutch, thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, we'll see you next time.